heavy burden feels lifted. I feel like now we can start trying to heal. We don't have this over our heads. We know where she's going to be, we know where she's at, and she's taken care of.
Relief after a 2-month trial for Reagan Hancock's family and a chance for Jessica Brooks to address her daughter's killer.
I wanted to be sure my point got across, and I feel like it did. I wanted to speak for our family and, let her know what we all felt. Just how terrible what she's done to our family.
Taylor Parker beat and slashed 21-year-old Reagan Hancock in October of 2020 and cut her unborn baby, Braxlynn Sage, from her body. The baby later died. The verdict came in less than 90 minutes, and what the prosecutor says is a testament to the strength of the case.
They went through the evidence and the law and felt that they had plenty of information to make that decision. So I'm very thankful that they saw the evidence the way that the state did.
Parker's attorney says the system and Parker's family let her down.
Obviously respect the jury's verdict. This was a tough, lengthy case, factually and emotionally, for everybody involved. So obviously.
As you're watching this video, there's a woman sitting completely alone in a 60-square-foot cell in Texas, counting down the days until the state decides whether she lives or dies. The red brick walls of the Mountain View unit, officially renamed the Patrick L. O'Daniel unit in 2024 in Gatesville, are eerily quiet tonight, broken only by the mechanical hum of air conditioning and the occasional echo of guards making their rounds. But what she did to land herself on death row involves a level of calculated deception that even veteran investigators called unlike anything they'd ever encountered, and that detail will become crucial in just a few minutes. Inside this maximum security fortress, Taylor Renee Parker lies on her narrow metal cot, staring at the same concrete ceiling she's memorized every crack of for over 3 years. Criminal psychology experts describe distinct phases death row inmates experience, and those who've observed Parker reveal a woman trapped between desperate denial and the crushing weight of what awaits her. Some days she clings to innocence in hushed conversations with her legal team. Other days, the horrific reality of what she's done settles on her shoulders like a death shroud. But here's something that might surprise you: what truly happens in those final, agonizing 24 hours before execution follows a precise, almost ritualistic protocol.
In the small town of New Boston, Texas, on October 9th, 2020, it began like any other Friday. The air was still, the streets quiet, the kind of morning where nothing ever happens. But by noon, the entire community would be consumed by horror behind one white house on Austin Street. Police would uncover a crime so cruel and unfathomable that it would echo across the nation. Inside the house was 21-year-old Reagan Hancock, a young mother full of life, expecting her second child within weeks. She was the kind of person people instantly loved, kind, radiant, and excited to meet her baby girl. But when officers entered her home that day, they found her lying face down in a pool of blood. The scene was brutal. Reagan had been beaten, stabbed more than 100 times, and her unborn baby had been cut from her womb. The reality was almost too horrific to process. But the nightmare had only just begun. Just 2 hours after Reagan's body was discovered, state troopers stopped the car about 50 miles away, near the Oklahoma border. Behind the wheel was Taylor Parker, a 27-year-old woman from Sims, Texas. In her lap, a newborn baby girl, still with the umbilical cord attached, lifeless. Taylor was hysterical, claiming she had just given birth on the side of the road. Emergency responders rushed to save the infant, but the truth would soon come crashing down. Investigators quickly noticed Taylor wasn't bleeding. Her clothes were clean. Her story didn't add up. Within hours, doctors confirmed she had not given birth, and DNA tests later proved the baby belonged to Reagan Hancock. But who was Taylor Parker? To most people, she was charming, confident, and obsessed with appearances. She loved attention and wanted everyone to believe her life was perfect, that she was wealthy, connected, and soon to be a mother. But behind the facade was desperation. For months, she had faked an entire pregnancy, lying to friends, family, and even her boyfriend, Wade Griffin, claiming she was expecting a child. She went as far as staging ultrasound photos, throwing baby showers, and posting updates online. But time was running out. Her fake due date was approaching, and Wade expected a baby. The pressure of maintaining her life pushed her to the unthinkable. Taylor became obsessed with finding a woman whose pregnancy matched her fake timeline. She began stalking expectant mothers on social media, commenting, messaging, pretending to be friendly. That's how she found Reagan Hancock, who was 8 months pregnant at the time. Reagan was warm and trusting. She didn't know that Taylor's compliments and visits were part of a deadly plan. On the morning of October 9th, Taylor drove to Reagan's home. Investigators later discovered that she carried a scalpel, a hammer, and a twisted plan to steal life in order to steal a baby. What happened inside the house was pure terror. Reagan fought back fiercely, trying to protect her unborn child. But Taylor overpowered her, stabbing, strangling, and then cutting open her abdomen to remove the baby girl she intended to claim as her own. After the attack, Taylor wrapped the infant in a blanket, got back into her car, and drove north toward Oklahoma, believing she could still pass the baby off as hers. But fate and a sharp-eyed state trooper had other plans. Within hours, Taylor Parker was arrested. The news sent shockwaves across the country. A mother murdered, a baby stolen from her womb. The headline alone was almost too painful to read. The community of New Boston gathered in candlelight vigils, mourning the young mother and the baby girl she never got to hold. Meanwhile, detectives built their case. They uncovered a trail of lies stretching back months. Taylor had fooled everyone, her friends, her boyfriend, even medical staff at a local hospital where she had faked checkups. Investigators found Google searches on her phone like how to fake a pregnancy belly, how to perform a C-section at home, and how to deliver a baby yourself. Each search revealed her calculated intent. The trial began in September 2022, 2 years after the murder. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, victims' families, and locals all waiting for justice. Prosecutors described Parker as manipulative and remorseless, someone who valued her fantasy life over human life. They presented evidence of her lies, the fake ultrasounds, and the brutal way she killed Reagan.
Obviously respect the jury's verdict. This was a tough, lengthy case, factually and emotionally, for everybody involved. So obviously we're disappointed with the outcome, but Taylor will have an automatic appeal to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals and see where it goes from there.
Parker was handcuffed immediately after sentencing and removed from the courtroom as soon as the victim's family finished their impact statements. She was on her way to death row in Gatesville, Texas, within hours.
I think she has been very difficult for the jail staff here in Bowie County. I think obviously the experts would even agree that she just creates chaos where she goes. And I absolutely think that she got the punishment that she deserved today.
No one from Parker's family was in the courtroom for her sentencing. In New Boston,
the defense tried to argue that Taylor suffered from a borderline personality disorder, that she acted under delusional pressure and didn't plan the murder, but the jury saw through it. After deliberating for just over an hour, they found her guilty of capital murder and kidnapping. Then came the penalty phase, the moment everyone waited for. The judge read the sentence aloud. Death.
Went through the evidence in the law and felt that they had plenty of information to make that decision. So I'm very thankful that they saw the evidence the way that the state did.
Parker's attorney says the system and Parker's family let her down.
Obviously respect the jury's verdict. This was a tough, lengthy case, factually and emotionally, for everybody involved. So obviously we're disappointed with the outcome, but Taylor will have an automatic appeal to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals and see where it goes from there.
Parker was handcuffed immediately after sentencing and removed from the courtroom as soon as the victim's family finished their impact statements. She was on her way to death row in Gatesville, Texas, within hours.
I think she has been very difficult for the jail staff here in Bowie County. I think obviously the experts would even agree that she just creates chaos where she goes. And I absolutely think that she got the punishment that she deserved today.
No one from Parker's family was in the courtroom for her sentencing. In New Boston, Donald Britton, NBC6 News.
Taylor Parker was sent to Mountain View Unit in Gatesville, Texas. The state's death row for women. It's a cold, concrete fortress where time stands still. Parker now spends 23 hours a day in a solitary cell, measuring just 6 by 10 feet. Her meals slide through a slot in the steel door. Her world is narrowed to silence, shadows, and memory. On death row, Taylor has no access to other inmates. Her only company is the echo of her own thoughts. She's allowed a Bible, a few letters, and a radio. Once a day, she's escorted handcuffed to a small outdoor cave for 1 hour of fresh air, alone. Prison staff say she spends much of her time reading and writing letters, occasionally talking to chaplains, but she rarely mentions a murder. Some guards describe her as calm and polite. Others say she carries an eerie emptiness, as if she's still trapped in the lies she created. The appeals process began almost immediately after sentencing. Parker's lawyers argued that she didn't receive a fair trial, claiming the jury was emotionally influenced by the crime's brutality. But the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals rejected her motion in 2024. Her legal team has since filed federal appeals, hoping to overturn the death sentence or at least delay execution. So far, every motion has been denied. Under Texas law, execution dates are not set until all appeals are exhausted. That means Taylor Parker remains on death row indefinitely, her fate sealed, but the clock is still ticking. So what will happen when her final day comes? If her execution is scheduled, she will be moved from Mountain View to the Huntsville unit, the same prison that houses Texas's execution chamber. On that day, she will wake early. A warden will inform her of the schedule. She'll be given a final meal of her choice, though most inmates barely touch it. At 6 p.m., she'll be led down a narrow hallway, escorted by guards. Through a small window, witnesses will watch as she's strapped to the gurney, arms outstretched for lines running clear. A chaplain may hold her hand, whispering prayers. Then, when the warden gives a signal, a dose of pentobarbital will flow through the tubes, slowing her heartbeat until it stops. Texas law requires that the execution be recorded, documented, and confirmed by a medical examiner. Within minutes, it will be over. The woman who once stole another's life to preserve her own illusion will face the ultimate consequence. In the quiet after the verdict, Reagan Hancock's family finally spoke out. Her mother said through tears, "We don't want vengeance. We just want peace, and know that Reagan and her baby are together now." Their words carried the pain of every mother who has ever lost a child too soon, and every family that has faced the unthinkable. For the people of New Boston, the case left scars that will never fade. Even years later, the house on Austin Street remains a silent reminder, not just of what Taylor Parker did, but how darkness can hide behind a mask of normalcy. Today, Taylor Parker's name is etched into the grim history of American crime, not as a symbol of madness, but of obsession and deceit. Her story is studied by criminologists, psychologists, and true crime followers around the world as a chilling example of how far delusion can drive a person. From a fake pregnancy to a stolen life, from a small-town lie to a courtroom verdict, her journey is a spiral of deception that ends only in silence, inside the cold walls of a Texas death row cell. In the end, justice caught up with the lies. But no verdict, no sentence, no execution can ever fill the emptiness left behind by the loss of Reagan and her baby. For their loved ones, the pain doesn't end. It simply changes shape, becoming part of every sunrise, every memory, every breath that still aches with what if. And so, the story of Taylor Parker stands as one of the darkest chapters in modern true crime, a reminder that beneath even the most ordinary faces, unthinkable evil can hide. What drives someone to fake a life so completely, to take another's, just to keep the illusion alive? That's a question that may never be fully answered. If you found this story as haunting as we did, let us know what you think in the comments. And remember, every story of justice begins with someone brave enough to seek the truth.